Will the graduates please remain standing, and will our guests please rise as Ames alumnus and music instructor Dion Duran performs the national anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. Good afternoon, guests and honored graduates. Welcome to the 2022 commencement ceremony for Ames Community College, our 55th graduation ceremony. I am DJ Boyce, member of the class of 2022, and I am a leader on the Campus Activities Programming Board. I have the honor of being your MC this afternoon. As your MC, I am going to briefly move into flight attendant mode to ensure that whether you are here in the Miller Auditorium or upstairs in the ballrooms where we are live streaming right now, you are aware of the exit doors either behind you or on the sides of you. We will skip the talk about oxygen masks or flotation devices, and sorry, no peanuts or ice drinks. Tonight, we're going to do something much more fun than all of that. The theme for this year's commencement is printed on the front of today's program. The road to success begins with an open door. This quote is so relevant today as we sit in this beautiful new auditorium for the first ever commencement ceremony in this space. Not only has Ames opened doors into our collective futures, this Welcome and Event Center also represents open doors to new and prospective students and our community. I hope you will join me in reflecting on this theme throughout today's ceremony. I would like to welcome students and their families. Thank you for joining us. I would also like to recognize some special groups of people here today. Would all of the Ames faculty members in attendance in the auditorium or ballrooms please stand or raise your hand to be recognized? Thank you. Thank you all. Would all of the Ames staff in attendance in the auditorium or ballrooms please stand or raise your hand to be recognized? Thank you. Would all of our community members, donors, elected officials, alums, administrators, and friends of Ames Community College in the auditoriums or ballrooms please stand or raise your hand to be recognized? Thank you. Next, I will introduce our dignitaries sitting on stage. Please stand when your name is read. Audience, please hold your applause until the end. The Board of Trustees, Lyle Ochziger, Board Chair. Mark Hout, Treasurer. Dr. Jean O'Hara, Secretary. Marilyn Schock, Board Member. Foundation Board President, Diane Holmberg. Commencement Speaker, Lucario Lovato. Administrator, Dr. Russ Rothamer, Executive Vice President. And finally, the President of Ames Community College, whom you'll hear from shortly, Dr. Leah Bornstein. Leading our processional today and carrying the college mace, which symbolizes the establishment of our institution in 1967 and represents the academic mission of excellence that is embraced by all faculty, or the Grand Marshals, Dr. Carol Brown, Associate Professor of Natural Sciences and Ames Faculty Association Full-Time Faculty of the Year, and Dr. Karen Scarpella, Instructor of Behavioral Sciences and Ames Faculty Association Part-Time Faculty of the Year. Thank you. Now I will welcome the President of Ames Community College, Dr. Leah L. Bornstein, to the podium. Dr. Bornstein originally hails from New England, where she received her associate and bachelor's of arts degrees from Bradford College in Massachusetts, and her master's of education from the University of Vermont. She received her doctorate in communication and higher education leadership from the University of Denver. Her career and passion for travel has taken her to over 45 countries globally. Please join me in welcoming the 6th president of Ames Community College, Dr. Leah Bornstein.
Wow, you're doing well. Welcome, everyone. What an exciting day. Before I begin formal remarks, I'd like to reintroduce you to DJ, who was far too modest in his introduction. DJ was born and raised in Denver, Colorado, which definitely contributes to his love for winter sports. After graduating from high school in 2015, DJ immediately went to boot camp and earned the title of United States Marine. Four years later, he was honorably discharged and pursued his degree here at Ames. Since then, DJ has been a distinguished student who has played a role in various leadership positions and community building operations. After obtaining a role within the Student Activities, Inclusion, and Leadership Department, DJ has hosted a number of events that have moved us toward building a stronger sense of community, excitement, and inclusivity throughout our campuses. DJ has brought to Ames its first ever pumpkin toss, which definitely took some hard work to get approved. He has planned and offered food and nutrition events that provided meals and education to all students regarding food insecurity and health. But DJ would not be DJ if he did not have these two things: a plan and a positive attitude. Today, DJ graduates with an Associate of Arts degree with a plan to earn his real estate license very soon. Thank you for serving as our MC on this wonderful day. Now, Ames Board of Trustees, administrators, faculty, staff, alumni, families, friends, let's give a huge round of applause to the Ames Community College class of 2022. Woo, woo, woo. Graduates, I hope you know just how proud all of us are of your accomplishments. You made it. You're sitting here. You're sitting straight, hopefully. You made it here because of your hard work. You made it here because of your talent. You made it here because of your drive and your grit. Despite the uncertainty and struggles of the world, despite the demands of family, work, and all the rest of what we deal with day to day, you saw it through to reach this milestone. Today is a celebration of your commitment to your growth as a person, as a professional, and as a valued member of the community. You took the time and exerted the energy to learn, build new skills, improve your life and the lives of those around you. And that's something to be commended. If you can think back for a moment, think about what led you to Ames. Each of your stories is different, but the one thing you have in common is that you saw an open door and seized the chance to walk through. And that's the theme of our celebration today. The road to success begins with an open door. When you made the choice to come to Ames, you saw an open door to opportunity, to our career path. And look where it led you, to graduation day. But today is only one stop along your road to success. In fact, a lot of new doors open today. This celebration we call commencement is just the beginning of a lifelong journey to continuous growth. If you think of opportunities like doors, you'll realize they are tucked away everywhere you look. The trick is knowing how to spot them and finding the key to open them. It will take an open mind, a willingness to keep exploring, and a drive to keep gathering knowledge. I am certain you have the abilities to do all that and much more. On behalf of the entire college, I want to express that we are honored to have been part of your educational journey. I also want to remind you that we'll be here for you well after you venture out to your next endeavors, your journeys to the next doors that await you. As you graduate today, we now welcome you as our new alumni. You join ranks of many more before you who continue to shape and influence our community. We believe in your ability to make a positive difference in our world, and we stand behind you as you go forward. Congratulations again.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Lucario Lovato, who goes by Luca, who is our commencement speaker this afternoon. Luca is from all over, born in Texas, raised in Japan, but he considers Colorado his real home. A veteran and an honors student, Luca started attending Ames just last year and immediately applied to the Ames to UNC program as a business transfer student and is graduating with magna cum laude honors and an Associate of Arts. Luca plans to transfer to the University of Northern Colorado and major in marketing. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished student speaker, Lucario Lovato.
Opportunity, as defined by Webster's dictionary, is a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. What the dictionary does not tell us is that sometimes those circumstances come with great difficulty or effort. We all like to think that when opportunity knocks, it's coming to us, but we oftentimes have to open that door and chase success ourselves. We are here because we opened that door and decided to walk through it. Maybe this was the only door. Maybe there was several doors available to you. Or maybe when opportunity knocked, you were somewhere defeated and dark. Wherever you were, you still walked through that door and found yourselves here today. Metaphors aside, this degree or certificate we are receiving was not just given to us. It was something we had to work for, to strive for. Sometimes it felt like we had to fight for it, especially for those of us who had 5 classes a semester, had to balance coursework with full-time jobs, had to figure out how to transition to remote learning, or those who had to fit school into the chaos of parenting during a pandemic. We are not envious of your workload, yet we are exceptionally proud to see you here. This is not just a piece of paper either. It is a stepping stone for moving forward, the next stage in bettering our lives. It doesn't matter if we're stopping here with an associate or certificate or pushing forward to a bachelor's. We have risen into a new chapter of who we are. Today, without any exaggeration, is our victory. We opened that door of opportunity, fought for this piece of paper, and we won. Its meaning changes depending on who you are, but nothing can depreciate its value. For the parents who use this victory to get a better paying job or a promotion or a raise so that you can spoil your children just a little bit more, those nights of doing homework at the kitchen table after tucking your kids into bed or being in a classroom when they had a school activity going on, it's finally become worth it. Now you will be able to improve their life that they have and be present for it. To our veterans, hoorah, hooah, hoo-yah! You opened that door of opportunity. You donned a uniform chosen for you to represent your nation's interest, and now you don a gown for an interest of your own choosing. Those nights sleeping in the sand and dirt next to spiders the size of birds or checking your boots for scorpions, it's finally worth it. To pave a path forward for this accomplishment, not an MOS or an AFSC, but an entirely new career. This also applies to our non-traditional students and the elderly who have come back to school to pursue a new direction. Sometimes life doesn't go in the way we think it is, and we have to return to new roots to carve a new path. We're proud of you finding your way here regardless of when you found it. And of course, we do not forget about those of you fresh out of high school, or even still in high school, barely giving yourself a break from education. Well done getting this done so early. We're very impressed with your efforts. Even outside of classes, from the inner battles that we faced behind locked doors to the ones we were able to take on with a little bit of help, we are all a champion of that challenge. There are many more that don't fit into the aforementioned categories, this is true. However, that doesn't make this feat any less incredible. No matter your path, why you took it, how or when, today is your victory. Through your effort and your time, you have achieved this degree or certificate. It is important, it is substantial, and we are so proud of you. We heard the knocking of opportunity. We opened that door, knowing full well that it would be difficult. Our determination was the set of circumstances that led to this. We walked through that door so that we may walk on stage today. We were the opportunity. Today, this is your triumph. So I hope you celebrate it happily. And congratulations on your graduation.
Thank you, Lucario, for that wonderful speech. You will notice many of the graduates wearing red, white, and blue cords. These are graduates who are U.S. military veterans, students Luca just mentioned in his speech. Would those wearing red, white, and blue cords please stand or raise your hand to be recognized? Thank you for your service. You will also notice graduates wearing tassels, cords, stoles, and medallions representing Phi Theta Kappa, the two-year college academic honor society, the National Society for Leadership and Success, the English Honor Society, the Veterans National Honor Society Salute, and High Academic Achievement. Will members wearing these honors please stand or raise your hand to be recognized? Woo! Yeah. Thank you. Would Dr. B join me at the podium?
One moment, please. This year, the college and the District 6, K-12 District 6, have the opportunity to celebrate the 5th graduating class of Ames Community College and Greeley School District 6 Early College Academy. The Early College Academy is a collaborative design and structured blend of high school and college curriculum, allowing students the opportunity to complete their high school diploma and Associate of Arts degree simultaneously. With the graduates of Early College Academy, please stand or raise your hands to be recognized. Now we move to the portion of the ceremony dedicated to the conferring of degrees. As you may know, Ames Community College is governed by an elected 5-member board of trustees. All degree and certificate programs are approved by the Colorado State Board for Community Colleges and Occupational Education and the Colorado Commission of Higher Education. Chair Oxiger, would you please come forward to deliver the authorization?
Thank you, Dr. Bornstein. By the authority vested in the Board of Trustees for Ames Community College and as a representative of that board, I hereby authorize you, Dr. Leah L. Bornstein, to confer on these graduates the appropriate degrees and certificates as recommended by the faculty at Ames Community College.
William Blue Brannon, magna cum laude. Connor Baker, cum laude. Jerica Rosales, cum laude. Gabriela Johores, magna cum laude honors. Stephanie Evadine Thompson. Jeffrey Hatch. Michael Allen Lehman. Victoria Alisa Silva, summa cum laude. Lisa Caroline Horsman Jetman, magna cum laude honors. Nicole Phipt, summa cum laude. Esmeralda Ortiz Perez. Cooper Wyatt Smith, magna cum laude. Melissa Claire Belke, magna cum laude. Noemí Guadalupe Valderrama de la Rosa. Katie Diane Crewell, magna cum laude. Jessica Sue Davenport. Melody Sue Egner, summa cum laude. Angela Pauline Kent, magna cum laude honors. Amber Marie Sanchez. Kaylin Ashley Frank. Kayla Marie Sigmund, magna cum laude. Kira Lynn Kraft, cum laude honors. Kiana Green, magna cum laude honors. Giselle Chavez. Alexis Donahouse, cum laude. Amanda Edmonds. Cinnamon J. Martinez, summa cum laude honors. Madison Alexis Cimental, cum laude. Dulce María Maturino Ortiz. Miguel Ángel López. Claudia Hernández. Maddie Mortensen, summa cum laude. Matthew James Hitland. Heather Malone, magna cum laude. Alexander Cruz. Julie Haywood. Skylar Rain Brown. Tristan Sierra Smith. Roseanne Basher, summa cum laude high honors. Rachel Lead Columbia. Taylor Anderson, magna cum laude. Mary Joy Borja Mipa. Michaela Renee Kisner, magna. Yesenia Padilla. Arisandy Maldonado. Ruth Abril Loya. Denise Annette Dominguez Casas. Shireen Marie Bennett. Nabi Christy Corral. Aide Guadalupe Conchas García. Easy Williams. Alisa Boca. Catherine Elizabeth Belladin, summa cum laude, high honors. Theodori M. Ralston, cum laude, honors. Lucriano Ramon Lobato, magna cum laude. Damani DJ Boyce. Vanessa Krista Ramirez Hinojosa, summa cum laude, high honors. Rebecca Stasak. Leo Joseph, magna cum laude. Colin Von Chanel. Kayla Renee Steele Trusper. Noemi Lily Lopez, honors. Sared Hazel Rodriguez. Andrew James Caneda, magna cum laude. Gabriel Franco Carrasco. Rubén Ulises Fuentes Jr. Jasmine Garcia. Jennifer María Castrejo. Dulce Jazmín López de Anda. Aide Citlali Palma. José Palafox. Christine F. Dial. Michaela K. Clark. Michelle Patricia Wecker. Lola Payne. Enma Elisa Vasquez. Jacqueline Christina Marie Tavita. Benjamin Larson, summa cum laude. Briley Marie Swagti, summa cum laude. Patrick Liddon Hessen, magna cum laude. Janet Hernandez, magna cum laude. Ramón Solís Gallegos. Elder Uriel Hernández Jr. Shelby Rosalind Paul. Kylie Jo Smoother, cum laude honors. Slade Walter Wagner. Adriana Alicia Ochoa. Eileen Villagomez. Angel Adrienne Plasencia. Wes Kevin Young. Haley Carlson. Ashley Nicole West, cum laude. Richard Smith, cum laude. Summa cum laude. Emmett Logan Pelisi, cum laude. Micah Del Vanderlog, honors. Na Offie. Ansha Ma. Aiden Tiswe. Isaiah Ray Cordoba. Claro. Rafael Ramírez Macías. John Arroyo Zavala. Andrea Marinez Dean Chart, magna cum laude. Roger Dean Peck, Jr. Joel Gómez Gutierrez. Jade Ann Gutierrez, magna cum laude honors. Marjorie Laurie Atchison, summa cum laude. Erica Kelly Croft. Caillou Ann Roussel. Eric Ivan Cabral, cum laude. Cristian Rey Urrutia. Brittany Matayay. Aaron Noah Martinez Moreno. Merly Martinez Moreno. Rachel Lynn Britton, magna cum laude. Kimberly Ray Kuhn, magna cum laude. Kelly Marie Stephanie Freeshot, summa cum laude. Sandra Patricia Benavides. Stasia Perlee Aldridge. Kirsten Ann Larson. Raylene Laura Neely. Jasmine C. Rinner. Marcia J. Roque. Cheyenne Charity Keener. Catherine Isabella Noche. Carly Renee Dean, summa cum laude. Kyle Garrett Moorhead. Ariana M. Orozco, magna cum laude. Olivia Isabella Lopez. Robert Callum Fraser. Nicholas Robert Richards. Riley William Stitcher. Edgar Garcia. Chris Samuel Cerillo. Angélica Lisbeth Talamantes, cum laude. Javier Isaac Castro, summa cum laude. Kobe Cooper White, magna cum laude honors. Brianna Sue Mig, magna cum laude. Haley Rose Sahid, Sego. Anayeli Loma de la Cruz. Riyan Ahmed Bakarle. Shelby Ray Shuniga. Melanie Ann Western. Bella Sofia Sealer. Itza Salazar. Daisy Amy Gutierrez. Victoria Faith Grisel, magna cum laude. Oliver Schwantz, cum laude. Adriana Bargan Vega. Logan Fitzgerald, magna honors. Fantasia Rivoli Johnson, cum laude honors. Nigeli Tena. Rachel Piercy. Anthony Isaac Martinez. Tessa Grace Efner, honors. Marisa Casey Johnson. Jackie Estrada. Maribel de la O Ojeda. Annika Silva. Carrie Anaí García Sandoval. Ariel Marie Van Sturp, cum laude. Jody Martinez. Opal Hatfield. Adam Leaves Kinlan. Shailene Jane Renner. Lee Audrey Arwick, magna cum laude. Kendra Morris Alexander. Grace Marie Racine, magna cum laude. Carly Joy Norris, summa cum laude. Kayleen Ann Sulson. Nico Martin Murphy. Blake Christopher Warner. Bradley Gavin Booker, magna cum laude honors. Maria Dean, summa cum laude. Carlos Prado Lopez. Michael Andrew Coolidge, summa cum laude, high honors. Jacob Wilcox. Caroline Lafayette Dester, magna cum laude. Noah Jacob Pacheco. Chloe K. Lynn Stupka. Abdurazak Mohammed Omar. Litsi Moran. Janet Moran. Robert J. Mason. Noah T. Kale, summa cum laude. Ethan Bunnell, summa cum laude. Jacob Ryan Martin, cum laude. Brian Diaz. Kenneth Allen Oshner, magna cum laude honors. Asher Cash Neese. Caleb Pork. Anna Cade Hoover, cum laude. Vivienne Grace Miesel. Elia June Watkins, cum laude. Brielle Leona Watkins. Lilian Nanali Kieber, magna cum laude. Gianna Caitlin Mancina, summa cum laude. Maya Sukiko Filler, summa cum laude. Andrew Francis Milcent, magna cum laude. Nicholas Allen Johnson. Ethan Emerson Hogan. Aiden Damian Letters, magna cum laude. Samantha Mahani, summa cum laude. Megan Love Southhound. Brendan Jason Cody. Caden McNary, summa cum laude. Braden Joseph Lovato. Giovanni Hyatt Moncano. Riley William Hunro, cum laude. Berenger Pratig France. Zach Philip Bong. Noah Brandon Chandler, cum laude. Christian Michael Smith. Carson Hugh Brown. Madison Joyce Hart, cum laude. Brentlin Cole Pies. Brianna R. Lemur. Alessandra Christine Balduga, summa cum laude. Abigail Hope Shoemate, summa cum laude. Brianna Raquel Pies. Janessa Lynn Robinson, summa cum laude. Brady Page Smith, magna cum laude. Andrew James Henson. Corinne Marie Arps. Emily Frances Whining, cum laude. Sydney Danielle Fayan, summa cum laude, high honors. Carly Elizabeth Coso. McKenna Faye Strata, summa cum laude. Zoe Vernona Aldridge, summa cum laude. Aaron Javier Lazo Ortiz, magna cum laude. Adas Cassandra Erskine. Landon Scott Shui. Aiden William Roth, magna cum laude. Ian Marco Sutler, magna cum laude. Raúl José Tapia. Sebastián Portillo. Jailin Mosqueda Bañuelos. Jacqueline Mathia Lester. Ashley Cisneros, cum laude. Genesis Giselle Ramirez. Clarissa Marie Peña. Vanessa Avila. Mónica Lozano. Francis Ray Dempsey. J. Lynn Roth. Marcos Ramírez Reyes. Yasmín Ivanes Arroyo. Giovanna Carvajal, magna cum laude. Cristina Cárdenas Álvaro, cum laude. Jennifer Hernández. Ryan J. Kaperman. Noah Katsuo Majoshi. Carton Aiden Kusnik. Nicholas Joseph Thomas, magna cum laude. Nick Norris, magna cum laude honors. CJ Rose Nelson. Ismael Lerma Banda. Zoe Code, summa cum laude. Kate Amber Stanley. Elizabeth Richards. Paige Elizabeth Harvey. Isaiah Eliel Fuentes, summa cum laude. Dana Paola Ordóñez Sánchez. Ángela Lorena Andasola Castillo, magna cum laude. Khalid Kanik. Zion Jag Albrecht. Kylie Lean Patterson. Tucker Key Templeman, summa cum laude. Ambrose Boniski Likely. Michaela Ray LaDodge. Sabrina Lynn Rodriguez.
And a hush comes over the room. The moment we've been waiting for. By the authority granted to me by the state of Colorado and the Board of Trustees of Ames Community College, I hereby confer upon you all rights and privileges associated with your earned degree or certificate. As is the tradition, please move your tassels from the right side of your cap to the left, signifying your academic rite of passage. Congratulations.
Please join me in welcoming the president of Ames Community College Foundation, Diane Holmberg, who would like to congratulate us on our success.
Thanks, DJ. It truly is an honor to be part of your 2022 commencement celebration, especially here in the new Miller Auditorium. On behalf of the Ames Foundation Board and staff, I congratulate each of you on your accomplishments. A door is a movable structure used for opening. There are many types of doors: louvered, Dutch, pocket, sliding, French, barn, revolving, even doors for our pets. There was a television game show based on doors. What's behind door number 1? I even wrote an 8th grade English paper called Life of a Door. Not a single day passes that we don't use a door. As a student, each of you has walked through many doors on the Ames campuses as you have attended classes, met friends, enjoyed lunch or a cup of coffee, or studied at the library. Elizabeth Taylor once said, "I feel very adventurous. There are so many doors to be opened, and I am not afraid to look behind them." The Ames Foundation board members and our generous donors believe in student achievement. We are encouraged when you as students are able to realize your goals as evidenced by the diplomas and certificates you are receiving today. As you continue on the road to success, please stay connected to the many individuals at Ames who have been instrumental in preparing you to open the many doors that are before you. Actively participate as alumni, attend alumni activities whenever possible, help fund scholarships, encourage others to attend Ames by sharing your story, volunteer, get involved with your communities. Again, congratulations. As Daniel Keyes, who wrote Flowers for Algernon, said, there are so many doors to open. I'm impatient to begin.
Thank you, Mrs. Holmberg. The focus of our ceremony has been to celebrate the success of Ames Community College's newest alum, us. Now let us recognize those who have generously given so much to help and support. We know how critical it is to have the unconditional encouragement of our families, friends, classmates, spouses, partners, and coworkers, and how these individuals have helped make our achievements possible. New alums, please join me in recognizing our loved ones. Before we close, I would like to express our thanks to all of the staff and faculty members who have worked hard to make this a special occasion for all of us. And a very special thank you to our speakers. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and words of inspiration. I would also like to recognize and thank our interpreters for today's ceremony. I am happy to announce that this year's commencement ceremony is streaming live right now on our website. In addition, the ceremony will be available on our college YouTube channel within a week. This is a great opportunity for us to see ourselves as well as share with our families and friends who were unable to attend today. You are invited to walk through our beautiful campus this afternoon. Feel free to stop by the bistro and coffee bar at the Student Commons if you want to have a celebratory lunch or a drink. They're open and waiting for you. Families and friends, please meet your graduate in the lobby area outside of the auditorium after the recessional. Graduates, you will be ushered out by row when called. This concludes our 2022 commencement ceremony. Safe.